We've got some trade talk to get to on today's episode, but I was looking at the analytics for the month of July, and we are trailing by a good margin against Saints Now in subscribers. And I want to remind everyone, we have taken down Saints Now in subscribers every single month in 2024. I'm not lying. Look at the numbers, and we're not losing this month. So by all means necessary, make sure we defeat Saints Now in subscribers. Hit the sub button if you're not subscribed. If you are subscribed, send it to your grandma. They always have to click on links. We know this, and they will subscribe too. So make sure you lock yourself in for the best free Falcons YouTube content out there. Hassan Reddick, baby. We have been talking about him for a little bit on the channel, but the trade rumors, they're only heating up. NFL training camp is underway for all 32 teams, and you've got a couple of notable holdouts. Brandon Ayuk is a hold-in, for example. Trent Williams is a holdout. CeeDee Lamb is a holdout. You know who else is not at training camp? One of the newest members of the New York Jets defense, Hassan Reddick. Now, if you don't know the context behind this, let me catch up to speed. So, Reddick did not show up to day one of Jets training camp. He was traded from the Eagles to the Jets back on April 1st. Now, before that trade went down, for about a month and a half or so, he was public, and the Eagles were public about it, that Reddick was looking for an adjustment to his contract. Whether that was an extension or just an overall raise, it was no secret to anyone who had access to the internet, I would say. That's kind of the threshold for knowing Hassan Reddick wanted some kind of tweak to his contract as he was entering the last year of a 3-year contract. He was scheduled to make $14.2 million, and he had vastly outplayed that contract. It was evident, it was obvious, it was a common law, known fact to everyone but the New York Jets. I want to share a little snippet from the Athletic beat reporter for the Jets, Rich Cimini, who wrote this in a recent article. At the time of the trade, the Jets were under the impression that Reddick, who turns 30 on September 22nd, was content to play out the final year of his contract and hit free agency. There may have been a miscommunication, or perhaps Reddick changed his mind. Either way, it was an odd look for both sides. This is the most New York Jets thing ever. Like, have you guys seen the episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David has a friend who's a fan of the Jets, and the friend literally kills himself because he can't keep taking the heartbreak from the Jets? This is what that friend was killing himself over. Like, Hassan Reddick changed his mind? No. The Jets just let Bryce Huff walk in free agency, their sack leader from last year, who's 4 years younger than Reddick, traded for Reddick. Okay, you replace one good pass rusher with another. That one's a little bit older, but whatever. And then you decide we're not going to change his contract, even though he's been asking for one. Well, we're going to pretend that we didn't know that. Excuse me? This is an actually professional sports franchise being run here? Now, we have been talking about Reddick on the channel for a long time. Go back to June 10th. I mean, I can go back further than that, but that would go before he got traded. As early as June 10th, I started to sniff around Hassan Reddick and think, this might be a player that could get moved before he even takes a snap for his new team. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Hassan Reddick. So let this serve as a good reminder, by the way, to subscribe to the channel. That way, you're not like just in the know, but you're ahead of the know when it comes to all the latest Falcons and NFL rumors. So Reddick, to me, may not be as good as gone in New York, but it's getting to that point. Now, as exciting as it would be to trade for him, I do feel like the Jets, as fun as it is to make fun of them, will come to their senses and figure something out with the guy they gave up a third-round draft pick for, and they'll probably give him a raise, and Reddick may just decide to end his holdout then. Keep in mind, Hassan Reddick gets fined $50,000 a day he is not at training camp. Those fines are going to add up. And under the new CBA, the team cannot forgive those fines if they reach a deal with him. So maybe he'll blink before the Jets do and decide, all right, I'll come in no matter what. But Reddick, going all the way back to February, was very public that he was looking for an adjustment in his contract. He wanted an extension. He wanted a raise. He signed a 3-year, $45 million contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. He has been one of the best pass rushers in football the last 4 years. I don't think he's out of bounds for wanting some sort of change in his contract. I'm just surprised the Jets didn't know that before they traded for him. Look at what he's done the last 4 years. 11 sacks, 16 sacks, 11 sacks, 12 and a half sacks. By the way, if anyone watching is a little bit on the fence about trading for Reddick, stop it. Stop. Don't overthink this. Look at the last 4 years. How many forced fumbles is that alone? 6, 8, 14 forced fumbles. When was the last time the Falcons had a player had 14 sacks in a season? So I'm not going to stand here and try and convince you guys that Reddick is a good player. Go back to 2020. He is 4th in the NFL in sacks. He's ahead of Nick Bosa, who's got an NFL Defensive Player of the Year trophy on his mantle. He's not far behind from Myles Garrett, who has an NFL Defensive Player of the Year trophy on his mantle. Same goes for TJ Watt. Hassan Reddick would be an absolute godsend to this Falcons defense, which is in dire need of a true pass rusher. Not a let's hope Arnold Ebiketie or Zach Harrison breakout pass rusher, or Grady Jarrett's great from the interior. I'm talking a guy who puts up 10-plus sacks every single year, 4 straight years, without blinking. Get one of those guys. Pair him with this defense and Kirk Cousins on offense. You're going to score a lot of points, and Reddick's going to help you keep that other team's score down towards 0. So, do you want to trade for Reddick? I hope after this point, everyone's typing Y for yes. So do that in the comment section. I understand that he is going to be 30 years old and that maybe he won't live up to every bill and dollar he gets on this next contract if it comes from the Falcons. But the reality is the Falcons need a number 1 pass rusher. So if that means slightly overpaying for one, so be it. If that gets them 10 sacks, 9 sacks, that's going to be more than anyone's had since Vic Beasley almost a decade ago. We're getting close to that year. Before we wrap up today's video, I do want to tell you guys about our sponsor, though, which is Game Time. Summer baseball is here. It's off and running for quite some time now. And if you want to go catch a Braves game or any other Major League Baseball team in your area, you're going to want to give Game Time a shot. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app, they actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. Now, something I love about Game Time is the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same row and the same section for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Look at the Falcons front 5. I know there's a lot of wishful, half glass full thinking. And you know what? I like that in sports fans because that's kind of the way I operate as a fan as well. But you are lying to yourself if you don't think swapping out Lorenzo Carter for Hassan Reddick would dramatically improve this defense. Now, the question that the Falcons need to answer, and pretty much all other teams looking to trade for Hassan Reddick need to answer, is, will the Jets even listen to offers? Are they going to accept a horrible defeat on this by taking or trading away Hassan Reddick and getting less for what they gave up for him without him ever even coming to a single practice? They may just decide, no, we are too stubborn. We are not going to swallow our pride and admit we made a mistake trading for him. We didn't understand the contract situation, and we're not interested in extending or raising his salary. They may just decide if he wants to sit out, he can sit out, but we're not going to trade him away. Hopefully they come to their sense and go, well, if he's not going to play for us and he's going to sit out and he's going to take these fines, we might as well try and recoup some of the draft capital we gave up to get him. So I think a 2026 fourth-round draft pick is fair. The New York Jets, they gave up a 2020, I beg your pardon, The Jets gave up a 2026 third-round draft pick, conditional one, to get him from the Eagles. So they are taking a loss on this, but they can limit the bleeding. They can stop the bleeding. They can cut the loss down by a little bit and at least get something for the guy and just decide, you know what? That was a mistake. But you know what? Let's not make that mistake worse by holding on to him, keeping him hostage. Let's just wipe our hands clean, go our separate ways, and learn from this. And that's the mature, grown-up thing to do. We'll see if the Jets do that. And if they do that, the Falcons should be taking down every freaking cell tower in East Rutherford, New York, or New Jersey, trying to get Hassan Reddick down to ATL. So, what would it cost to get Hassan Reddick money-wise? Because we know if you're trading for him, you better have a good plan in place to extend him. Here are the top 10 highest-paid edge rushers in football. I don't think Hassan Reddick is demanding to become a top 10 highest-paid. Maybe he wants to sneak into Bradley Chubb's number and become the 10th highest-paid, but I think even Reddick knows at 30 years old, he's not going to get an extension that gets him the likes of Josh Allen's, Brian Burns. Like, those guys are 3-4 years younger than him. That's likely not in the cards. So this would be my extension projection for Hassan Reddick. 3 years, $65 million. That's an average of $21.6 million, which makes him the 11th highest paid edge rusher. Right now, he's somewhere around 17, so jumping up a good amount of spots. But the team protection is only half of it, $30 million, is guaranteed. So it's basically a 2-year, $30 million contract. So if the Falcons trade for him and after 2 seasons they feel like his best football is behind him, they can move on with very little dead money. So it's not some monster $65 million to the team. But if he does play well through 2 years, they can hold on to him for year number 3. He'll get every dollar of those $65 million, and it could be a great win-win for both sides. I think that is something the Falcons should pursue if that door cracks open even a smidge and word gets out that the Jets are fed up with Hassan Reddick and they're not going to come to an agreement on a new deal, so they decide, we're done. But if you are in the camp of, we don't need Reddick, we've got Zach Harrison, Arnold Ebiketie, let me just tell you this right now. Now is not the time to develop these young players. You just paid Kirk Cousins $180 million. Not to babysit rookie and second-year defensive players and bring them along. No, to go out and win playoff games. Playoff games. Playoff is the key word there. If the Falcons were trotting out a rookie quarterback, different scenario, right? Probably wouldn't be the absolute best time to go out and invest in a 30-year-old defensive playmaker, but to try your luck at some of the younger players you drafted, see if they can develop into Hassan Reddick for a lot cheaper, I'd be all about that. But once you sign Kirk Cousins, you are in. You don't spend $180 million if you are not serious about winning football games right now. And you can have a better defense with Hassan Reddick. So the time to develop those guys was last year with Marcus Mariota. Like, those were years where, let's be honest, you weren't legitimate, serious playoff winning contenders. Right now you are. At least offensively, you are built to be that. Defensively, you have some work to do. So get Hassan Reddick. I mean, if that's not enough for you, just the history of the Falcons pass rush. Like, Hassan Reddick in 2 years has more sacks than the entire Atlanta Falcons team in 2 years by themselves. They have finished at near the bottom of the barrel every single year in team sacks for the last 5 years. 31st, 24th, 32nd, 31st, tied for 22nd. They have finished bottom 10 all 5 years. And to make it worse, I looked back since 2020 when the playoffs expanded to 7 teams. Only 4 of the 56 different teams that have made the playoffs since 2020 have finished in the bottom 10 of sacks. Do you want to bet on being in the 7% club or the 93% club? Because last year you finished tied for 22nd, but your top 2 sack leaders are no longer on this team. I don't think you're trending in the right direction to get out of the bottom 10, where this team has been stuck for pretty much its entire franchise history. So that is why I wholeheartedly believe if they can go get Hassan Reddick, they should do it. All right, to wrap up the show, we've got some trivia for you guys. I want you all to arrange the Falcons' wins versus NFC South teams from most to least. So between the Saints, Panthers, Bucks, who do they have the most wins against? From most to least, let me know in the comment section. We're going to reveal the answer to you guys in 3. So pause now if you want more time to think. 2, 1. Saints. They have a 55-55 record which 55 wins is also a big product of playing the Saints more than the Panthers or the Buccaneers. Panthers come in second with 36 wins, and the Bucks, they were actually I think they're trailing the series 31-30. So I'm a little surprised they're trailing the Buccaneers series just because the Buccaneers have the worst win percentage in NFL history. But there you go. That is today's trivia question. They got 55 wins against the Saints, 36 against the Panthers, and they've got 30 against the Buccaneers.